Hey guys, welcome back to MMA Library. Today in MMA and UFC news, Jon Jones had some words for Francis Ngannou following his quick victory over Cyril Gane this past weekend. Here's the clip.
For a long time, people looked at me as just an incredibly fake individual. And I think as of right now, I think people can just see that I'm a human, that I do love God, but I'm a human. And Christians aren't perfect. So I know that grounding myself is going to be more important than ever. It's just remaining humble.
John, one more in the front right here. I don't know if you saw, but Francis tweeted, good job, Johnny boy, sincerely, the heavyweight king. Do you have a response to Francis Ngannou referring to himself?
Francis is a big old...
Hey, John, that's 3 years.
I love that quote. I love it. All that muscle with a big ass... Excuse me. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Here's what Stipe Miocic had to say following Jones' victory over Gane. Honestly, I thought it was going to a decision. I didn't know how Jon was. He took 3 years off, but hats off to him. You see some things, I'll keep them to myself, but I definitely see some things I can use. It's a fight, he won, good for him. Hats off, but unfortunately, he's got to fight me in July. He's a big boy, 6'4", 247 pounds or something like that. I'm bigger than that. We're all big boys at heavyweight. I actually weigh more than both of them right now. I actually weigh 253, so it's kinda nice. I think a lot of things about the fight, just something he hasn't seen before. I know it's cliche and everyone says it, but honestly that's the truth. Nothing's going to change, I'm going to train hard and I'm going to beat him. Yes, 100%, no questions. I want it in July. I wanted this fight in March, it just didn't work out. They gave it to Cyril, but I'll wait until July, it's fine. You'll see what the difference is, I can tell you right now. Islam Makhachev believes he should hold the #1 spot on the pound-for-pound rankings after his win over Alexander Volkanovski. Here's what Islam had to say during a recent interview.
Because who is a pound-for-pound now? Volk, but I beat him a couple weeks ago. For me, it's not matter because, you know, if I have belt, I go to Australia, far from my country, beat the champion and come back with the belt, and that's it.
Islam then went on to give some insight into what's next for him.
Do you want a bit of time off? How soon would you like to get back in there?
No, I just waiting for call. When UFC call me, and when they put someone in front of me, I will be ready.
Of course, Beneil Dariush is going to be fighting Charles Oliveira. You've already beaten Charles, but how do you see that fight going down, and who do you think comes out the winner there?
Honestly, I don't know. Yeah. I hope Beneil win because I already beat Oliveira, and I need some new challenge, you know.
Bruce Buffer reveals he's extremely excited for the fight later this year between Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler. Here's the clip.
Remember, fan first, announcer second. Side is crazy. As a matter of fact, not that there's nothing wrong, but I haven't watched a Tough show in a long time. I mean, the whole series. And I'll be glued to this one. That's for sure. It's going to bring back the ratings and everything. Conor's back. We'll see how Conor handles himself, how Michael handles himself, but the two going at it. Man, that's going to be National Geographic time when you see the two, you know, bulls come together with the horns. It's going to be very, very exciting. Big show. Big show.
Dana White gives an update on the situation surrounding Colby Covington. Dana says Colby is ready to fight, and they're in the process of finding him an opponent.
You touched on how impressed you were with Shavkat Rakhmonov. He called out Colby Covington afterwards. I know you don't make fights straight afterwards, you always say it, but is that something that makes sense?
Yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah, that's fun. That's a fun one.
In Abu Dhabi, as Jose asked?
Oh, I'm not making the fight. I'm just saying, yeah, that sounds fun. I didn't know he did that, but we'll see.
And it's been over a year, like pretty much to the day since Colby last fought for Masvidal right here. Do you guys have an update on him at all, or?
On Colby?
Yes.
Yeah, Colby's ready to fight. He's ready to fight, and he's ready to fight anybody. I know we've reached out to him for a couple of different fights, and he said yes to it, but it just didn't work out.
Cody Garbrandt thinks he could become a UFC champion again. This is what Cody had to say in a recent interview.
I was just trying to move forward, you know, just get a win. Everything else will fall in place. Life will be good, you know, instead of like focusing on things that the small battles that I could have won to help and just make life easier for myself, you know, looking at, oh, I win this fight, I'm fighting for the world title. And I was like, I've been a world champion, that'll come. I know, you know, the mountain to climb, it's just a different path this time. So, you know, I got to win and it's momentum. So I'm going to use this momentum, get back with my coaches. It's the first coach or first camp that I work with these guys. You know, so it's a lot in the line, you know, and we got our skills together and we got our, training. And so I'm forever grateful. It's something that I dreamed of since I was a kid. You know, it's something that at my darkest times as a child growing up, I was always thinking about Dana White wrapping the world title around my waist and Bruce Buffer saying, and new or and still. So it's the dream's still alive, you know, the passion's there, you know, as long as I want to do this for.
Michael Chandler doesn't believe Bo Nickal should be calling out Khamzat Chimaev after his first fight in the UFC. Here's what Chandler had to say.
I think Bo has the people behind him, the people around him. He knows how to train. He's got the talent. And obviously, at this point, he hasn't been very shy on the microphone. Now, that would be the second thing I would say. I think it's a little bit unbecoming to come into the UFC off the Contender Series and start talking about Khamzat Chimaev and fighting John Jones or whoever he's freaking fighting. You know, at some point, you got to just play the game as well. You got to grow, but grow at the right rate. People see what Conor did getting on the microphone. People see what these other people have done. I think Bo's getting a little bit, you know, a little bit too talky for the average fan's liking. If it were me and I were his manager, I'd say, hey, let's keep our nose to the grindstone. Let's knock them down when they put them in front of us. Let's talk about the realistic matchups, but don't talk about Khamzat Chimaev, your first fight in the UFC, basically.
Darren Till recently hinted at a move to the boxing world following his release from the UFC. During a recent interview, Till said he would be interested in making millions in a boxing fight against Jake Paul. Making millions to fight Jake Paul? I'd be dumb to say no. Are we all just hating because they made a lot of money and made us all buy into it? Maybe, so count me in. Tommy definitely won. All this talk of Jake's not a real boxer, Jake's been boxing. Jake has been working really hard and he's been dedicating himself. He's got a lot to learn with movements and balance and stuff like that, but he didn't seem like he was out of his depth there. Everyone's saying Tommy should have done him quick, and you know what? Tommy's been boxing since he was 8, so yeah, he should have. But Jake's a tough customer. He can take a shot, he can give a shot. He's very confident, and he's got a big team around him who are all hyping him. Dana White gives his take on John Jones' future with the UFC. Here's a clip.
Do you think, given his attitude that he has, you know, he seems so grateful for things, he seems in great condition, that he can go on a long time, right? I mean, who knows what he wants to do, but do you see in him that he has a number of fights in him if he chooses to do that?
I don't know. This is what you get when you're dealing with John Jones. I know he wants to fight Stipe. He wants to fight Stipe. He's interested in that fight. You know, if that fight happens, awesome. We get to see this talented freak, you know, perform again. If not, I don't know. Who knows? I told Hunter, charter a jet and send him right back to New Mexico right now. Let's get him home safe and sound.
Big John and Josh from the Weighing In podcast give their take on the recent comments made by Dana, suggesting Francis Ngannou will never return to the UFC.
Dana's had some bad taste in his mouth before, so.
Look, this comes down, when you say there's no possibility, I believe Dana is right. Because Ngannou wants certain things that are more important to him than money. And the UFC is not willing to give those things. So I think Dana's right. I think this is one that's not going to happen unless Ngannou decides, okay, I don't need them. I don't care about the sponsorship. I don't care about the fighters having representation. These are the things that he's caring about. These are the things that he's saying, this is more important to me than how much money I make. And those are things that the UFC is not going to give him. So why, when you look and you go, he cannot negotiate with him because I already know going in, you want things that I'm not going to give you.
I wouldn't say that's the only reason. Francis is what, 37?
Yeah, somewhere around. Not 30, 35, 36, I think.
John Jones is my
36?
champ now.
Yeah, well, and that's... look at these things make a difference in this world. 36, that's right.
Guys, thanks so much for checking out the video. If you like the content we do here on this channel, don't forget to like and subscribe to MMA Library for all the latest MMA and UFC news. We'll see you in the next video.